Welcome everyone. My name is Jason Gorenstein, and this is our Facebook Live yoga. So we do Facebook Live yoga every single day of the week, Monday through Sunday, and we offer these classes in order for people to enjoy the aspects of yoga. Obviously, the classes are free, and it allows for people to just enjoy a balanced yoga class. So this is something I've been trained in, and I feel that in offering it for free, it allows for people to enjoy these services, even though the costs may be a prohibiting factor for many of us. So without further ado, let us begin. And I apologize. Today is not Sunday. Today is it. We're not at 6 a.m. We're about at 10:20 a.m. So all of my classes are 55 minutes in duration, and typical class goes from 10:15 a.m. until 11:10 a.m. So today's class will just go a few minutes longer just because we started a little bit late today. So without further ado, let us begin. And you're more than welcome to check back in. If you see my handle, it's at Yoga with Jason G. So you can always add me on Facebook. That's where the classes are streaming live. But if you end up missing a class, you can always catch the class again on YouTube at Yoga with Jason G. So it's all together. It's all one word. No spaces in between at all. So it's just Yoga with Jason G. So without further ado, let us begin. And once again, this is a Hatha Yoga 1 class, so this is for beginners and or anybody that just wants a balancing yoga class. And let us get started. So you can find your way onto your mat, and you're going to start in a pose called constructive rest pose. So the knees are going to be bent, the feet are going to be about hips width distance apart, and you're just going to let your breath be long and slow here. So enjoy the practice, if you will. Okay. So as you find your way onto your mat, and even if you're just watching the video, you can just enjoy by watching. As you find your way onto your mat, bring your knees together and bring your feet apart, and just allow your entire body to rest on the floor. So whenever we begin in a yoga practice, we're always focused on what we can become aware of. So in this case, becoming aware of our shoulders, becoming aware of our arms, and becoming aware of our back muscles and our feet. So these are the contact points that we start with in today's practice. And you can roll the shoulders under and lengthen the tailbone forward. And just begin to notice that breath of yours. Notice your inhalations and your exhalations. And really, the breath is the key component of our yoga practice. So whatever's going on in our lives and whatever we may be facing, it often is great to remember that our breath is always with us. The breath is what is there from the very beginning until the very end. So as we enjoy our practice today, just see if you can come back to your breath as many times as feels comfortable for you. And you're going to take your right knee and draw your right knee into your chest. Hug the right knee in and just breathe here for a few breaths. As you draw the right knee into the chest, just begin to notice both shoulders releasing down onto the mat. Allow the right outer hip to move away from you as the right knee moves towards you. And breathe into the right gluteus muscle, the right hamstring, the right quadricep. And as you exhale here, just begin to release that right foot down. Left knee draws into the chest likewise. So as you draw the left knee into the chest, flex the left foot to start. And then begin to allow the left outer hip to move away from you as you draw the left knee into the chest. Shoulders continue to release down to the mat. Breath continues naturally, long and slow. Just breathing here. And eventually releasing that foot on down. You're going to take your knee into the chest again. Right knee comes into the chest one more time. Now if you have a strap, and I realize many of us probably don't even own a yoga strap, you can use a belt. And just place a belt right along the arch of your right foot. And extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. This pose is called Supta Padangusthasana in constructive rest pose. So as you continue to breathe here, draw both shoulders down to the mat. Let the right outer hip move towards the left heel. Allow the back body to be long here. And just see that you can breathe into the chest, the heart, and the sternum. Once again, Supta Padangusthasana pose. And as you exhale, right knee bends in, release the right foot down, left knee hugs into the chest, take your foot, place the strap right along the arch of the foot, and then extend your left leg up towards the ceiling here. As you extend the left leg towards the ceiling, begin to flex the left foot, draw the shoulders down towards the mat, lengthen the outer left hip all the way towards the right ball of the foot. And breathe here. So just begin to notice your breath. Like I said, the breath is really the key component to yoga practice in general. We allow ourselves to create some time and some space for our breath as we let that left leg lift up towards the ceiling, resting the left outer hip away and just breathing into the left leg. There's no rush here. This is just an opportunity for us to explore the body and the breath together. Eventually, the left knee comes to a bent position. One more time, the right leg comes into the strap. Extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. This time, if you'd like, extend your left leg all the way forward. This is called traditional Supta Padangusthasana. So as you breathe here, allow the breath to travel into the back body, especially the right outer hip. Feel the right outer hip moving away from you. Feel both shoulders releasing down towards the mat here. And as you continue to breathe, just begin to notice the left thigh pressing down. The left outer hip is drawing away as well as the right outer hip. And you feel both shoulders releasing down to the mat. Now, you can take both of your hands, hold on to that strap in your right hand, or rather, place both sides of the strap into the right hand. Take your left arm out to the side. As you press down through the left arm and the left foot, begin to extend the right leg out to the right any amount. This is called Padangusthasana B variation. Padangusthasana B is with the leg extended in an external rotation. Let the right hip move away from you. Continue to draw the right outer hip in and breathe. Well, the right outer hip is spinning towards the left heel. If that gives you any. But the left outer thigh is spinning in towards the left inner thigh. Come back to center with that leg. Rebend the left knee and then place the right foot down on the mat. Again here, take your strap and place it directly over your left foot. Extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. So we start here. Leg is extended up towards the ceiling, and then we begin to lengthen that right leg all the way forward. Now as the right leg lengthens forward, flex the right toes and allow the left outer hip to draw away from us towards the right foot. And continue to breathe here. So as you breathe, see that the left outer hip lengthens away. See that the left foot continues to extend up. And breathe into the right leg. Once again here, take both sides of the strap into your left arm and extend your right arm out to the side. So you can stay here, or if you'd like, you can begin to lengthen your left leg out to the left side of the room. As you lengthen that left leg out, begin to rotate your left outer hip away from you as you draw your left outer thigh towards you. So this is a common theme in yoga where you have two forces that are going in opposite directions. And as you maintain those two opposite forces, they create balance for the body. Once again, left leg extends up towards the ceiling, rebend into that right knee. Draw the left knee into a bent position and release the left foot on down. Hug both knees into the chest here, and just begin to breathe here in Uttanasana pose. This is like child's pose, but on our backs. Just breathe here into the back muscles, soften those shoulders down to the mat, and continue to breathe into the back body. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. And 1 more breath. Inhale and exhale. So eventually releasing those feet down on the mat, rolling onto your side, and pressing yourself up into a seated position. So as we find our way into our seated position, we'll cross the legs here. We'll close the eyes and breathe. So typically in a yoga class, we start out with the sound Om. Om is a sound that resonates, the sound of the universe. The Ah sound is the very first sound to come out of the mouth. The U sound is a sound that resonates the center. And the sound is a sound that resonates the closing of the sound. So it's the last sound to leave the mouth. So as you feel ready, if you'd like, you can join me, taking a deep breath in. Releasing the chin towards the chest here. Lifting the head, gently opening the eyes. Okay, guys, let's come into child's pose. So child's pose is another one of the primary postures in yoga. See that the knees are wide apart. See that the feet are together. Release the head on down. Walk the fingers forward here and see that the fingers are pressing down. As the fingers press down, the forearms lift up and the outer arms wrap in. Triceps wrap in. And as you continue to breathe here, just notice the length along the side body. There's a lengthening here that as you walk the fingers forward, you can feel the engagement of those side ribs. Now, as you keep that, begin to press down through the fingers once again. Lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the sternum, and find your way into tabletop pose. Tabletop pose, lengthen through the chest, lengthen through the heart, lengthen through the sternum. And we're going to take a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So as you draw the shoulders back, inhale, peel the chest on up. And as you press down through the tops of the fingers, round the spine here. Inhale, peel the chest on up so the outer arms wrap in, the biceps firm, and the triceps continue to move to the back of the room. As you exhale here, begin to round the spine. So hug the navel in towards the back of the spine and begin to feel the tailbone coiling down towards the backs of the knees. Inhale, peeling the chest forward and up, lifting up through the chest, heart, and sternum. On the next breath, taking the toes underneath, pressing down through the tops of the feet, lifting the knees up, floating the thighs back, downward facing dog pose. So downward facing dog pose is another very common pose in yoga practice. We turn the fingers out, we release the head down, and we press down through all 10 fingers. As you take downward facing dog pose, begin to feel the fingers lengthening all the way to the front of the mat. Likewise, the forearms are also lengthening to the front of the mat, while the outer arms are wrapping in. As the outer arms hug in towards the ears, you may begin to feel the side ribs lengthening back towards the back of the room, any amount more. Now continue to feel into those knees, and maybe add a slight bend to those knees. As the knees bend, just see if you can draw the hips any amount more back towards the heels. Eventually, you're going to allow for the thigh bones to press back towards the hamstrings, the kneecaps lift up towards the thighs, and the shin bones press back towards the heels. Good. From here, you're going to walk the hands back towards the feet and come into a forward fold. So walk those hands back, walk those hands back, walk those hands back. Forward fold and release the head on down. As you release the head on down, just let the weight of the body travel from the heels to the toes. Feel the backs of the legs growing longer here. You can take your right thumb, place it into the left elbow crease. You can take your left thumb, place it into the right elbow crease. And from here, just begin to glide those elbows over towards the right knee. and back to center and over towards the left knee. And back to center. Eventually, just letting the weight travel from the heels to the toes here and releasing that head on down. Continue to breathe into the shoulders. Continue to breathe into the neck muscles. Continue to allow the weight of the body to travel from the heels to the balls of the feet. Once again here, we release the hands down to the mat and we walk the fingers forward as we move back into downward facing dog pose. So again, downward facing dog pose, releasing that head down towards the mat and breathing here. Release the knees down now. And then eventually, walk the toes back towards one another. Release the head down and find your way into child's pose. Once again from child's pose, walk the fingers forward and come high up onto the fingertips. As you lift up onto the fingertips, feel the forearms lifting up towards the ceiling. Once again, those triceps, they begin to move towards one another. And you may even begin to feel the back body here. Breathe into the back body. Allow yourself to lengthen here. You're going to lift the head up. Walk the hands over to the right side of the room. Release the head on down. Continue to breathe into the left side of your chest, the left sternum, the left side of the rib cage. And once again, you'll lift the chest up, walk the fingers back to center, and come to the other side as you release the head on down. And breathe here. Continue to lengthen through the left side, or the right side of the body rather. Continue to feel the hips drawing back towards the back of the mat. One more time, we come back to center here. Seal the palms down onto the mat. Inhale, peel the chest on up. Tabletop pose. Exhale, pressing down through the fingers, lifting the thighs up, hips up, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog pose again. You're going to walk the feet forward towards the hands. As you inhale here, lift through the chest halfway up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and release the hands down to the floor. Press to the feet. Inhale. Send the arms up towards the ceiling. Palms face one another. Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, bring the hands back down into the sides. Tadasana pose. Okay. So as we start in Tadasana pose, just see that the feet are about hips width distance apart. See that the palms are spread wide apart. Fingers are spread wide apart. And just begin to feel into the toes and into the heels. Begin to allow the chest to broaden as you take the arms back any amount towards the back of the mat. Shoulders spread wide apart. Shoulder blades are moving into the center chest here. Inhale, float the arms up above the head, Urdhva Hastasana pose. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, release the chest on down. Inhale, lengthening halfway here. Now as you exhale, take the hands down to the mat. Walk the feet back, downward facing dog pose. From downward facing dog pose, lower the knees down to the mat. Lower the chest all the way down onto the mat. Good. Walk the hands back, walk the hands back, walk the hands back. Hug the outer elbows and inhale, peel the chest up. Bhujangasana Cobra pose. As you take Cobra pose, see if you can lift the chest off of the thighs. But as you do that, continue to hug the navel in towards the spine. Feel the belly button drawing in all the way up towards the ceiling here. And as you exhale, release that head on down. Walk the hands back just a little bit more. One more time. Inhale, peel up the chest. So here, we see that those elbows are drawing in towards one another. We begin to feel the tops of the trapezius muscles moving to the tops of the elbows. As you continue to breathe, you'll notice the chest moves forward and up, so the shoulder blades move into the center chest. And as you hug in the belly here, you may begin to feel those sit bones lengthening towards the backs of the heels, or rather the buttocks flesh moving to the backs of the heels. Good. Tuck the toes underneath. Press down through the hands. Press down through the knees. Press down through the feet. Downward facing dog pose again. So once again, we find our way into the common downward facing dog pose. Releasing the head down. And just beginning to bend the left knee as you straighten the right leg. And bending the right knee as you straighten the left leg. Good. And coming back to center once again. We look forward. We walk the feet forward towards the hands. And as we inhale, we lift up halfway. As we exhale, we hinge and fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up above the head, Urdhva Hastasana pose. As you exhale, take the arms out to the sides. So again, inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. As you inhale here, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. Take the hands down to the mat. Walk the feet back, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, we shift forward into plank and we pause here. So plank is the top of a push-up. It's a strengthening pose. We spread the fingers wide apart. We see that the legs are lifting up. Buttocks, flesh is moving back. Belly is drawing in. From plank pose, you can always lower the knees down onto the floor. Eventually, yes, we will lower the knees down onto the floor. Continue to lengthen the chest down forward, and as the elbows draw in towards the side, ribs lower all the way down. Again, we walk the hands back to meet the side ribs. We allow the thumbs and the outer palm begin to press into those side ribs, the floating ribs. And then from here, inhale, peel the chest on up. So once again here, hug the belly in. Lengthen through the heart, lengthen through the sternum. This time, take your fingers or take your palms off of the mat and hug the outer elbows in here. Keep allowing for the shoulder blades to move into the center chest as the tops of your shoulders move all the way to the low back. Continue to lengthen your buttocks all the way to the heels and allow for the chest to lengthen in and up. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Press the palms down on the mat, press down through the toes, press down through the knees, press down through the hands, and find your way back into downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose again, just releasing the head down towards the mat and breathing here. So as you breathe, just breathe into the back of the legs, breathe into the back of the body, and allow your breath to continue to be long and slow here. So we notice here the palms and the feet pressing down on the mat. There's this action called rooting and rebounding. So as the hands and the feet root down, the shin bones and the forearms rebound up. And that rebounding allows for us to activate into our core and into our thighs. So those are really important parts of taking downward facing dog, core and the thighs. From here, walk the feet forward towards the hands. Inhale, lengthening here. As you exhale, hinging and folding. As you inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana pose. As you exhale, hands come down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, floating those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening here. Take the hands down to the mat. Walk the feet back. Downward facing dog pose. Again, downward facing dog pose. We shift forward into plank, top of a push-up. We lower the knees down. We lower the chest all the way down to the mat. Okay. Walk the hands back to the side ribs one more time. So if you were to look at the palms, you'd see that the palms are directly underneath the elbows. They make a 90-degree angle. And even before we lift up here, the elbows move towards one another and the shoulders move away from the ears. Inhale, begin to float the chest up. So stay here for a moment. This time, as you press down through the hands and you press down through your left foot, you're going to float the right heel up, the right ball of the foot up, rather. And as you float the right leg up, you're going to draw the right buttocks in and lift the right inner leg up. So the left foot still presses down. The buttocks flesh is still lengthening towards the heels. You're somewhat in that Bhujangasana or Cobra pose, just with a lifted right leg. And as you exhale, lower that foot down and release the head on down. Again, draw those elbows back towards one another. Begin to lengthen the trapezius muscles away from the ears and begin to float the chest on up. As you press down through the right ball of the foot this time, float the left leg up and allow the left outer hip to hug in towards the midline of the body. As the left leg floats up, lengthen both sides of the buttocks all the way towards the heels. So the right buttocks is moving towards the right heel. The left buttocks is moving towards the left heel. Both elbows are drawing in, and you're breathing here. Exhale, lower on down. Good. Now from here, you're going to lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the sternum. One more time, you're going to lift up the right leg, but this time you're going to lift up the left leg as well. So both feet are lifting off the floor. Turn the pinky toe side of the foot to face the mat so that the big toes are touching one another. Keep lengthening the buttocks towards those heels. This time, if you can, float the arms at the sides and lengthen. This is called Shalambhasana's pose or locust pose. Let the arms continue to reach towards one another. Let the forehead continue to lengthen towards the center of the room. So as you breathe here, you're lengthening while you're keeping those arms and legs lifted up. So we use this pose to strengthen the arms and the legs, as well as to create core strength in the belly. So as we did before, draw the belly towards the ceiling. As you exhale here, lower those hands down to the mat. Press down through the toes, press down through the hands, press down through the knees. Downward facing dog pose. Good. So this time from downward facing dog pose, we're going to lower. Well, it depends. You can either step your right foot in between your hands, or you can lower your knees down to the mat. Maybe you have yoga blocks. If you don't, that's fine. Just place your hands on the floor. You're going to step your right foot forward, come into a lunge. So as you come into a lunge pose, see that your chest is lifting up. So your chest is lifting very similar to what we just did in Shalambhasana's pose. You're lifting up the chest, you're lifting up the heart, you're lifting up the sternum. The shoulder blades are moving in towards the center chest. Crown of the head is lengthening from the tailbone. If you could feel your line of energy, you could seal up all the way from the base of the pelvis all the way through the crown of the head. Keep that action in the body. Inhale, begin to float the arms up towards the ceiling. This is called Ardha Anjalayasana, or half lunge pose, half crescent pose. So as you continue to breathe here, just bend more deeply into that right leg. See that both arms are reaching up. Allow the right outer hip to hug in. Allow the belly to hug in. And see that your eyes are facing forward towards the front of the mat. So continue to reach back and down, or rather press down through the left shin as you lift the left hip up. This is once again that rooting and rebounding action that we experience in the body. The eyes are soft here. The outer triceps are moving in towards each other as you begin to feel the chest lifting up. As you exhale here, take the hands back down to those blocks or to the mat and begin to walk the right toes forward as you move into a Ardha Hanumanasana, which is a half split pose, half split. So as we take this pose, lift the balls of the feet off the mat so that only your right heel is touching the mat. The rest of the toes are facing the ceiling. Now draw your right outer hip in, and as you press through your left shin, draw your left side of the chest forward. So you're extending your left chest towards that right foot, but you're drawing your right hip towards the left heel. Keeping these actions in the body, lift the chest, heart, and sternum here, just like we did in Shalambhasana. So the chest does not lower down. The chest is actually lifting, and you're extending through the base of your pelvis. Good, and as you exhale here, you're going to bring the right knee back to a bent position. Okay. Right knee's at a bent position. Press down through the left ball of the foot. You're going to float the left leg up. So now we're in what we call a standing lunge, where with our hands are on the ground. Now, as you take lunge pose, continue to press that left heel back to the back of the room and firm the right outer hip in. Lengthen both sides of the chest forward. Begin to feel both shoulder blades moving into the center chest as you breathe here. Continue to press down through the right heel. Continue to flex the right toes and lengthen through both sides of the chest here. Good. As you lengthen through both sides of the chest, can you press back a little bit more through that left heel? Can you draw the left outer buttocks in? Can you feel both buttocks moving towards the heels just like we did in Shalambhasana a moment ago? And then from here, take your hands to your hips. Now with the hands at the hips, see that the left knee bends just a hair, just a little bit, and then inhale, lift the chest on up. This is called Anjalayasana, this pose. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. So now we're in crescent pose. See that the right toes lift off the mat. So you're pressing through the right heel and the right ball of the foot. The right knee bends to 90 degrees. The eyes are soft here. There can still be a light bend in the left knee, especially if your left outer hip is tight. See that the eyes are soft. Allow the breath to be long and slow here. Wrap the outer triceps in. So take the arms forward in front of you. Pinkies face one another. And then lift the arms up towards the ceiling here. As you exhale, place the hands down on the mat. Lower down through the left knee, step the right leg back. So again, we usually come through a vinyasa here. Vinyasas, we shift forward into plank. We lower down onto our chest. We inhale, peel up the chest, heart, and the sternum here. Hug those outer elbows in. And as we exhale, we tuck the toes underneath. Press back through the fingers, press back through the hips, press back through the knees. Downward facing dog pose. So again, we're in downward facing dog pose here and breathing. And from downward facing dog pose, we step the left foot forward in between the hands. So I give you the option, if you'd like, of lowering your knees down and stepping your left foot forward this way. This is usually the best way to step forward in the beginning of our practice. So as you feel ready, press down through the fingers, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum here, and begin to feel your right shin pressing down. So as you lengthen forward, see that both sides of the buttocks flesh lengthen back. The buttocks is moving towards the heels here. And continue to breathe. Draw the belly in, lengthen through the heart, lengthen through the chest, lengthen through the sternum. So continue to feel that lengthening happening here. And eventually what we're going to do is we're going to float our arms up towards the ceiling here for Anjaliasana's pose. Ardha Anjaliasana, that is. So lift those arms up. Lift up through the chest, lift up through the sternum. Keep pressing the right shin down as the right thigh lifts up. So as you continue to maintain these actions in the body, the eyes face the front of the room. The outer triceps come forward. So once again, bring those fingers forward in front of you. Pinkies face one another, and then lift the fingers up towards the ceiling. That's what allows for us to lift from the back ribs. Soften the front of the chest here and continue to breathe as you lengthen and maybe even look up to touch the fingers. That's a very kind of more advanced action. As you exhale, lower those hands down to the blocks or the mat. Walk your left toes forward, walk your left toes forward, walk your left toes forward so that you're floating up on your left heel. As you lengthen through the chest, draw the left outer hip back and begin to lengthen the left center chest forward and up. As you draw up through the center chest, breathe here. Both shoulder blades move into the center chest. Right outer hip moves forward, left hip moves back. Continue to breathe here. Continue to lengthen, continue to extend. So as you draw on forward, see that your buttocks flesh moves towards the heels. Continue to lengthen here. Good. And as you continue to maintain all of that length in the body, just notice if you can get a little bit longer. The longer we get, oftentimes the easier it is for us to feel comfortable and calm in our postures. So as you breathe here, the chest continues to lift like Shalambhasana. The shoulder blades continue to draw in, the belly draws in here. Eventually you're going to rebend that left knee, tuck the right toes underneath, and press the palms down as you float the right leg up. So now press that right heel back. Spin the right outer hip in. The right thigh, right inner thigh is lifting towards the ceiling here. And the right buttocks is moving towards the right heel. Keep lengthening the chest on forward. So now it's almost as if our torso is reaching out all the way out of our right leg. So there's a line of energy that moves from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. From here, begin to press through the right ball of the foot. Begin to press through the left heel, left ball of the foot. Inhale, take your hands to the hips. As you take the hands to the hips, bend your right knee just slightly. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling. This is called Anjaliasana's pose. As you take Anjaliasana's pose, flex your left foot, meaning that you want your left toes to come off the mat for a moment so you can press down through the left heel and the left ball of the foot evenly. Right ball of the foot's pressing down. Take your hands forward in front of you. Glide the fingers forward to touch. Inhale, raise those arms up towards the ceiling. If your balance is good here, maybe look up at the fingers, maybe touch. As you exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Release the right knee down, step the left leg back, find your way back into downward facing dog pose. So again, we take downward facing dog pose here, we shift forward into a plank, top of a push-up, and we hold for a moment. So once we're holding in a pose, you can always lower the knees down. See that the belly's drawing in. So our pose is really centered around our core. The belly's drawing in, the palms are pressing down, the thumbs and the forearms, the outer arms are wrapping in, and you're lengthening back through those heels. So keep that engagement happening. We're holding a push-up here. And some of you may already have a practice of holding plank pose. This is often a great pose. It's a yoga pose. But the difference is we're paying attention to the different contact points of the body. The palms and the feet pressing down, feeling the inner forearms lifting up, outer arms wrapping in, belly drawing in and breathing. Lower those knees down. Again, lower the chest all the way down. Release the head down. Good. So for some of us more tighter students, okay, you may want to use a strap for this next pose. If you don't have a strap, a belt or a t-shirt will suffice. You're going to take a strap and you're going to place it right behind you so that you're holding on to the strap. This is especially for those of us that may have tighter shoulders. You're going to draw the elbows up towards the ceiling. You already feel the shoulders moving towards the ears. And then you're going to draw the elbows to the back of the room so that the shoulders move away from the ears. That's it. Now keep the arms there and inhale, begin to peel up the chest. It doesn't have to be that much. Usually in the beginning of our practice, it starts out a little bit and then it builds up from there. Keep drawing up through the center chest. Crown of the head lengthens forward. Feel that line of energy moving from the base of the pelvis all the way through the crown of the head. So the belly hugs in here. The arms continue to lengthen back. Good. Float the right leg up just like we did before. So see that the belly's drawing in. See that those arms are drawing back. See that the elbows are facing one another. Exhale, lower that right foot down. Inhale, float the left leg up. So draw the left foot in. Lift the left inner thigh up. Maybe take the hands back a little bit more. Exhale, float that leg down. If you can here, see if you can float both feet up. That's it, both legs up. Now turn the pinky toe side of the foot down and lengthen the buttocks flesh all the way towards the heels. So the thighs are lifting towards the ceiling and the buttocks is lengthening towards the heels. Belly is drawing in. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Hands come next to the side ribs. Tuck the toes underneath. Press down through the hands, knees, and the feet. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, pressing back for downward facing dog pose. Again, downward facing dog pose, we're going to step the right foot in between the hands. So this time as you step the right foot forward, if you'd like, you can lower the left knee if you need to do so. All right. From this variation, what we're going to do is we're going to walk the right foot to the center of our mat, directly in the center. And then you're going to turn the left heel down. So this is a preparation pose for standing up. You're going to draw your right knee into the midline of the body. You're going to draw your right outer hip into the midline of the body. So what happens here is the right buttocks, it begins to hug in. Okay, the right buttocks hugs in as you press down through the left heel. That's a very important action here because as you do that, the legs are so strong that you could take your hands onto your hips and you could feel the legs hugging in towards each other. Eventually, keep pressing in, keep pressing in, keep pressing in, and eventually lift the chest up. So that's a way that we get from the ground all the way to standing. It's a transition, if you will. It's a transition pose. And from here, you're going to begin to walk your right toes forward. Chances are you may be able to get a little bit more space in those legs. If not, just keep your feet where they are. Once again, you're going to flex your right toes so that the right toes lift up off the mat. So you can feel your right heel pressing down. You can feel your right ball of the foot pressing down and lifting through both sides of the chest. Now with your hands on your hips, you're going to turn your chest so that your chest faces parallel with the mat, which means that your chest is in the same line as the mat. Take your arms out to the sides and breathe here. This is called Warrior Two pose. Many of you guys have heard this pose. This is called Warrior Two pose. Nice. From Warrior Two pose, we begin to straighten through that right leg. So now you can soften the balls of the feet down to the mat. You want to see that the right leg is entirely straight. So you can look at that right foot and you can see it's in one line. It's a straight leg. Then from here, you'll draw the right buttocks in. You'll draw the left hip forward. You'll start to lean on forward. And as you lean on forward, you're still pressing through that left heel. The left thigh is rotating towards the back of the room, and the left buttocks is hugging in. That's it. From here, lengthen forward even more. So now you're using your core strength right now as you lengthen the body on forward. Good. Eventually, you'll release that right hand down towards your right shin. Now, for some of us that can't release the leg down that far, you'll take a couple blocks and you'll just stack blocks on top of each other and place the hand on the hip. This is fine. I often did this in the beginning, and then maybe over time, then you can place the hand down on the floor, you know? So from here, as you press through the right ball of the foot, continue to allow the right calf to move towards the right shin, hug the right buttocks in. And as you keep that lifting action happening through the feet, so the feet are moving towards one another, the left hip is dropping down. That protects the left outer hip because you don't want to have too much pressure on any one of the hips. As you feel ready here, inhale, float the left arm up towards the ceiling. So as you breathe, this is called triangle pose. Many of you guys have seen triangle pose before. You're going to press through the right ball of the foot. You're going to see that the right side of the chest is lifting up or drawing forward towards the right armpit. You're going to see that the left heel is pressing down and the left chest is lifting up towards the left fingers. So keeping this in the body, we lift that arm up and we come back and we bring our hands back down to our hips again. So hands are on the hips and we bend once again into that right knee. So I recommend, especially in the beginning and maybe even always, lifting those toes up off the mat. So as the right toes lift up off the mat, you'll feel that flexion in the right foot. So that activates the right inner ankle and the outer ankle. It's very important here in Warrior Two pose. We take our arms back out to the sides and we breathe here. So Warrior Two pose, it's a pose where we're stretching in all directions. Our left leg is stretching to the left corner of the mat. Left arm is stretching to the left side of the room. Right arm to the right side of the room. And the right ball of the foot is stretching down to the floor. And then you look over the right fingers here. Now to come out of this pose, we take our hands, we windmill them down to the mat. So just be mindful here of blocks or any props that you may have set up. You windmill your feet down to the mat and you step your right leg back. We shift forward into plank. This is called a vinyasa. So many of you guys have heard the term vinyasa. This is a vinyasa. You lower down the chest all the way down. We've already done it a couple of times today. You inhale, peel the chest on up. And as you exhale, you press the hips on back. Downward facing dog pose. That's called a vinyasa. The transition between all of those poses. And as we take downward facing dog, spread the fingers wide apart. Forearms lifting up. Outer triceps wrapping in. Release the head all the way down towards the mat. So from here, as you feel ready, you're going to step the left foot in between the hands. Step the left foot forward, spin the right heel out, walk the left toes back to the center of the mat. Again here, you're going to feel the right outer heel pressing down and the right hip hugging forward, okay? Walk the left toes to the center of the mat here. Good. So from here, we flex the feet. You bend into that left knee. So the left knee bends. The left toes begin to lift up off the mat. And you feel the left outer buttocks hugging in towards the right heel. So the buttocks draws towards the heel, and that's what gives us our length. So here, the legs are strong. You could float the hands up off the floor and eventually take the hands over to the hips. So once the hands come to the hips, we lift those left toes up off the mat, and you see that you're pressing down through the left heel and the left ball of the foot. The left outer buttocks hugs in. Now see that the right hip turns in slightly and breathe here. Turn your chest over so your chest is parallel with the mat. Take your arms out to the sides. So right arm is extending to the right, left arm is extending to the left. And see that both sides of the chest are lifting up towards their armpits. Trapezius muscles are moving back down the back of the spine. Now straighten through your left leg. Hinge at that left hip. So that means that the left hip draws back while the right hip draws forward. As you begin to lean forward, even though there's a light bend in that left knee, you're still lengthening through the left side of the chest. And then from here, if you have blocks, I'd recommend placing your hands on blocks, or if not, placing your hand on your shin. Hands on the blocks, right arm up towards the ceiling here. Now from here, continue to press the right heel down. Continue to just draw the right thigh back as you take the right hip forward. That's it. Press through the left ball of the foot here. See that the left knee is bent, left calf moving to left shin, and left buttocks moving back in towards the right heel. Keep lifting up here as you spread through both palms. The center chest is spreading wide apart towards the fingers. As you inhale here, float the right arm up. Bend into that left knee and flex the left toes once again. So the right arm extends to the right side of the room. The left arm extends to the left side of the room. And see that the left outer hip is drawing back and in. So the left buttocks is moving towards the body. So the right hip is moving towards the left foot. So these actions are helping us to keep our body in stability. As you feel ready, windmill the hands down to the mat. So take both of your hands down to the mat now. And step your left leg back to meet the right leg. So again, we move into downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose, we move forward into plank and we hold plank one more time. So this is our last plank hold. So see that the buttocks is lengthening towards those heels. See that you're pressing down through the fingers, wrapping those outer arms in, and hugging the belly in. So plank is just a push-up pose. We're just holding a push-up. But the difference between a push-up and a yoga pose is that we're paying attention to all the various contact points of the body. The fingers pressing down, the forearms lifting up, the trapezius muscles moving back away from the ears, the belly drawing in, the thighs lifting up, and the heels pressing back. Lower those knees down to the mat. So we're going to take our legs, and we're going to bring our legs forward in front of us. So from here, I'd recommend for most of us to sit on a blanket. And the reason for that is it's not a comfort issue. It's an issue of the anatomy of the body. So what happens here if we sit on the ground is our spine muscles sometimes tend to shorten here. So when we sit on a blanket, it lifts us up, it props us up, so it allows for us to create a little bit more length and stability in our body. That's the whole reason why you use the prop. From here, draw the right knee in. The right foot comes in contact with the left thigh crease. And then from here, you'll take hold of your strap or belt again. So you're going to flex your left foot to start. And you're going to take your strap and place it directly around the ball of the left foot. Very similar to how we started in today's practice. So as you lengthen here, and don't worry too much about folding right now. Just worry about lengthening. Folding happens over time. So as you lengthen, as you lift through the chest, as you lift through the heart, as you lift through the sternum, just see if you can hinge very slightly through those hips and begin to allow your heart to come all the way towards the left ball of the foot. Now, here, we have to let our left hip draw back as we bring our chest forward. And the reason for that is that our leg is long here. We're trying to create some space in the back of the left leg. So by taking the left buttocks back, but taking the chest forward, we're creating that space. The right hip draws down as you lengthen through the right side of the chest. And breathe here. Good. And then from here, we'll take that strap, remove it. We're going to take the other side of the pose. So to take the other side of the pose, you'll take this time your right foot and place it alongside of your left foot. You'll place it alongside of your right thigh crease. Okay, from here, you'll take both sides of the strap and you'll place the strap right over the ball of the foot. So as you place the strap over the ball of the foot, continue to lengthen here. See that both sides of the chest lengthen. See that your right outer hip draws back as your left chest draws forward. Continue to maintain that length in the body. Let the shoulders move down away from the ears here and allow the center chest to lengthen all the way towards that right foot. Continue to breathe here. Continue to lengthen. Continue to expand. So once again here, the buttocks flesh is lengthening away from the shoulders. And you're allowing for the left side of the chest to move forward as you draw the elbows back. And breathing here. So as we continue to breathe, eventually as time goes on, our practice becomes a little bit more quiet. And that's a progression of yoga. In the beginning, all of the descriptions and all of the verbiage, the language of what's happening in the body is very important. But as time goes on, especially as the class progresses, the talking becomes less so that you can be with your body. So you can feel into the sensations of the body. Okay, then lift the chest here. Take your left foot. Place the straps around the top of both feet as you lengthen both feet forward. This pose is called Paschimottanasana, or the west facing the east pose. Lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the sternum here. Just begin to bend the elbows and lean forward. So don't worry about how far forward you lean or how far forward you go towards the feet. Again here, our actions are very repetitive in these poses. So see that you're lengthening through the side ribs here. Side ribs are lengthening to the armpit, trapezius muscles are moving away from the ears. Breathe as you lengthen through the center chest. Allow the belly to hug in as you lengthen through those legs and breathe. I would recommend closing the eyes here. Paschimottanasana pose. Okay, inhale, lift the chest. Remove the strap. Find your way now onto your back. So now you're going to scoot your hips forward. You're going to, if you have a blanket, you can place it under the head. Oftentimes a blanket under the head is very nice here. You'll bring your knees back into constructive rest again. So this is where we started, remember? Okay, this time you'll walk the feet back together in constructive rest. And then you'll scoot the hips over towards your right as you let your knees drift over towards your left. Take your arms, place your arms out to the sides, either in cactus or a T shape as you breathe here. This is called Jartha Parivartanasana, or the stomach churning pose. Continue to allow the right hip to move towards the left heel. See that both sides of the chest open up towards the arms. Come back to center with those legs. Change sides.
And eventually, you're just going to let your legs extend all the way forward. Take the arms out to the sides, palms face the ceiling, and be here. This is called Shavasana's pose. So when we take Shavasana, this is a very common pose in yoga. We take it at the end of every class. When we take this pose, we're just allowing ourselves to relax and release here. The buttocks lengthens towards the heels, the shoulder blades roll under. Just let the body relax, peacefully, mindfully. Breathe. And just let your breath be soft. And bring your knees to a bend. And roll over onto your side. And pressing through your hand, lifting the chest and finding your way up into a seated position. As we find our way up into a seated position, once again, we bring our hands to the center chest, and as we exhale, we release the chin towards the chest. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's practice. My name is Jason Gorenstein. I go by @yoga with Jason G. If you're watching this on Facebook, please consider hitting the thumbs up sign on my Facebook page so that you guys get notifications for the live stream videos. I do live streaming every single day of the week.
and videos from beginner to intermediate to restorative to all different types of videos. So they're every day, and all the videos are posted on my YouTube page at Yoga with Jason G. So as I close the class, as I usually do, so thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys have a very nice rest of your Sunday. Once again, my name is Jason Gorenstein. Our next class is Tuesday, June the 9th, 2020, 10:15 a.m. to 11:10 a.m. This is our next Hatha Yoga 1 class. However, we still have many other classes throughout the week, so find yourself to my Facebook page if you guys have any interest. And I will look forward to practicing with you soon. A couple ways you guys can help out: giving a thumbs up to the video if you liked it, or a heart sign. Also letting me know how you're doing in the comment section and sharing the videos. I also have a Venmo QR code, so if anybody feels like contributing through Venmo, please contribute. Always grateful for that. And guys, have a phenomenal rest of your day. I'll be here for a 5:30 as well, restorative yoga. So if you want something more relaxing, join me at 5:30. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Thank you guys so much.